Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got a special guest in the building.
Yes, indeed.
Melanie, Fiona, welcome.
Hello.
How are you feeling? Long time no see.
Man, I'm so happy to be back. Why is it so cold?
I know. It's always cold in here.
Tell me. No, not in here. I'm
She's talking about in New York.
in these streets.
Yes.
You know, crazy. A couple days ago, it was like 70, 80
Yeah.
degrees a couple days ago.
It was.
Why couldn't we keep that same energy?
But you're not used to the cold weather no more?
No. I'm in California.
Okay.
My
okay.
Canadian blood has.
It's gone.
It's not. No, it's never gone. But the Caribbean blood is living. She's thriving now.
How has it been for a woman from Toronto living in L.A. during the Kendrick Lamar era?
Jesus,
Oh,
starts
my
right
God.
up.
Wow.
Question?
Wow.
Wow.
Welcome.
How's
It's
that been?
active. It's active.
Okay.
You know, I'm very Canadian in LA. That's my position.
You're very keen. Okay.
Yep.
All right, I like that. Well, how are you doing? How are you doing? We haven't seen from you in a long time. How was everything?
You know what? Life is blessed. I feel very, blessed to be here again, talking about new music, motherhood.
Yes.
It's a full scope journey for me. I'm just, like I said, I'm just blessed to have gas in the tank, still have creativity, to still have opportunity. And I'm just doing everything that I love to do. So, I'm happy. I'm grateful.
Congratulations, you got married
I
recently.
did. I did.
I still think 4 years ago was recently, 4 or 5 years ago. So.
It is recently. And
Yeah.
we've been together for 13 years now. So it's 12. I don't know. Don't quote me. A long time. But it's getting married. Except we did it in the pandemic, and that was really just a testament to making it happen.
Yeah.
However, you got to make it happen. We had planned a huge wedding. Just decided, you know what? We're just gonna walk down, get this done, and
That's
it was really
right.
one of the best decisions we made. Yeah.
You know, it's so interesting. People always talk about during the pandemic how folks got divorced because they realized that they didn't really like their significant others and they had to
Right.
spend so much time with them. But then there's the other side too, like your story.
Yeah, we did realize in that year, we were like, I really do like you. I mean, we'd already had a kid at that point, but
Yeah.
we were like, I really like you. Like, let's do this. It actually made us closer. And then actually at the end of 2023, we had a ceremony in our backyard just for our family because we didn't have any family when we did it. So that was really special too. I had my dad walk me down the aisle. I got to wear the dress I never wore. So it was special. And I think that that's kind of what the last few years of my life has taught me is that you just got to make the moments. Like we don't know if tomorrow's promised. So you got to say yes today.
And is that what the scope of Say Yes is about?
Yes, absolutely. So as the journey of life goes, I think a lot of people talk about saying no a lot. We say no, how to set boundaries. I had to do a lot of that in my life throughout my career. And I think that everything remarkable that I've really learned, that I've seen that I can do has come on the other side of saying yes. Saying yes to overcoming fear, saying yes to the love and the life that you want and desire, saying yes to the people who show up for you and say, how can I be down? How can I help? But obviously with discernment, that takes work. So I just want people to hear Say Yes as a musical project, but also to have affirmative language in their life. Say yes to you, say yes to whatever it is that you want and go for it.
Did Shonda Rhimes' book influence this?
It's so funny, The Year of Yes.
The
I
Year of
was
Yes.
reading it. Yeah,
Okay.
Wow.
absolutely. Yeah.
Now,
Cool.
13 years off the grid.
Yep.
What you been doing for 13 years last time we seen? I mean off the grid.
Lifing.
Off the grid.
But you know what? I wasn't.
Like you was hiding.
I really wasn't. I was outside in different ways. I was making a life as well as a living. I continue to do shows. I am a part of a podcast now called The Mama's Den. It's a motherhood podcast, a collective. I just started developing motherhood community and initiatives. I decided to expand my wingspan and just really step into everything I could possibly do with my voice, all while figuring out how I wanted to continue to do music.
Yeah.
The industry is one siloed experience of this, and after everything that I had went through, the peak of success, enjoying that, having difficulties with my voice, like just all these things, it really made me ask myself, how do I want to live and create for the rest of my life? And so that took some shifting, that took some refocusing, that took some severing conversations and relationships and just going independent,
Yeah.
and really just figuring out how I want to live my life. And so you need experience. You need to love and learn and live and make new music and get inspiration for all of that. So I think a lot of people, especially in the music industry, we live in this space or in entertainment where you feel like there's this clock ticking on you. This clock ticking. The only clock I'm on is God's clock. If I'm alive and I have another opportunity, I will show up when I am called to show up and when I have something to say, when I have something to offer. And I feel like I'm in that space now. And so my mantra for myself and for anyone out there is take your time. It's yours to take. Like we don't work on anybody else's clock. So, I just feel grateful that in all that time, I've still been able to reach the fans, continue to build community, continue to build fan base. And like I said, just have more products and creativity to put out. So, 13 years to still have people checking for you
Hell yeah.
is a
great.
blessing, because some people, nobody's calling for them, and God bless those people because they don't know how they're going to work or what else they can do. So in that space, I figured out what else I can do and what else I can create.
Now, you mentioned your voice. Sorry, Jess. What happened with your voice?
So right after the MF Life came out, I remember it was just off the Grammys. Everything was just at the peak of success for me. And I started having trouble with my voice. And I couldn't sing for like more than 30 minutes. And, I have the ballads.
Yes, you do.
So she has to sing all the time up here. And so that was a really terrifying place to be at because I had never had any voice issues. So I started to see all these specialists. They were all like, there's nothing wrong with your vocal cords. Nothing wrong with your vocal cords. And it was one doctor that said, what kind of a year have you had? And it was just a floodgate of emotions because nobody had asked me, how are you?
Wow.
I had just come off of a really bad breakup. I had moved states and cities. I had had this extreme, disparity and contrast of like high and low that I was experiencing. And it was literally all energetic. I was just blocked in my throat chakra, literally. I had to go for energetic healing, acupuncture. I just started to seek alternative methods. And that was really the place where I started to have to really recognize if I wanted to live happily in my purpose, I had to be mindful with my purpose. I had to be protective of my purpose. I had to find peace and set boundaries and really start to define how I wanted to move through my life and my art. So I remember I just went for a few sessions, started to be really mindful, and I was back on tour for 6 weeks with Mary J. Blige and D'Angelo with no voice issues after that.
Wow.
So it was just stress.
It was just stress and tension. And, there's Louise Hayes, The Body Keeps the Score. Like we are energy and we hold everything that we go through. This is trauma. This are conversations, our pain points. And you don't understand why sometimes we have progressive and consistent ailments and things like that. And a lot of it is from the stress and the trauma that we've been through in our lives. So I really encourage people to approach their life from a very holistic standpoint. Don't be so closed-minded to think that it's just one thing. We can actually be responsible for our own healing as well. Yeah.
I completely agree. And I'm wondering, like, over the last 13 years, did you take a break from music because you were kind of like rediscovering yourself?
So yeah, it's a little bit of all of it. It's discovering myself in motherhood, in womanhood, in an independent space, stepping away from the big machine of things a little bit, choosing to go independent. A lot of that requires time, and more time than we think. Like we think a lot of these things just happen overnight, especially when you got legal stuff involved.
Yeah.
Oh, that could take a long time. And some of it did, but also at the same time, I just really was enjoying the presence of my moments of life, being present for my son in the first 3 years after having him, because I was working on an album that never came out at that time. But that entrance into motherhood really made me say, I think I need to reshift some things in my life. But during that time, I was able to be present with my child. So it was a lot of rediscovery. It was a lot of shifting. It was a lot of living, and at a pace for myself and my family, which was really healthy for me.
Yeah.
Because okay, Jess.
You had sat down and did an interview with BET where you were talking about the sanity of moms and us feeling like we don't have the safe space to be able to say things like, I don't feel like mommy in today and things like that. Because we'll feel bad for it. Do you feel that you have you're in that safe space today?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it took having a second child. I never thought I was going to have a second child, but again, God's plan. And, a little bit of reckless behavior during the pandemic. But it really was, it was me allowing myself the permission to understand that it's going to be okay. And that I'm doing a great job. And I love my children. And also the thing that I always want to encourage women who are mothers in any capacity of their lives is your children need to see you being you. How many of us have seen our moms be like, my mom was so self-sacrificing. She's miserable. She got back pain and stress and high blood pressure because she was so self-sacrificing for everyone else. There's no reward for that. You have to pour into yourself. And so that whole empty cup analogy and metaphor. Like it's a real thing. We pour as women. We are nurturers. We are nurturing the earth. We are nurturing our offices. We are nurturing our children, our partners. We have to create space and demand that we have space to pour into ourselves. Yeah. It's the only way we can show up.
And that's why it's very important for, kids, even us at our age, get to know your parents, like have conversations with them and learn who they were before they were your parents.
Yes, absolutely. It's interesting because somebody asked me about this the other day. They're like, how do you feel your perspective has changed making music now versus making music before? Before children, I was singing heartbreak love songs and people love me for that. And, my kids now, they listen to these songs. They don't really have the context, but they're going to understand the journey of who their mother was as a woman.
Right. And
they're going to hear these songs on Say Yes and know that these songs are a reflection of transformative, affirmative love. And they're going to understand that they're a part of that. And so I do think it's important that your children know who you are. This generation that we all cloak and dagger and secrets and traumas, that's done. We can't do that for our children anymore.
We didn't do ourselves no favors keeping secrets.
No. And our children deserve to know who we are so that they have permission to be who they can be in their lives and understand that it's not a straight line and there's no perfect. You just do your best.
How is it doing? Because you said you're independent now, so you're no longer with UMG or Roc Nation.
No.
Why did you decide to go independent?
That's just like the trajectory of life. I had the opportunity to, and I took it. It wasn't a bad situation. Shout out to Steve Rifkin and SRC Records. I had the opportunity to make an exit to change the trajectory of my life, and I took it. And again, even that had its issues going independent, and even that had its learning curves. But, now in this space, this project, I've partnered with a Canadian label, some friends from back home who were like, yo, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to put out some new music. And they were like, bet, we'll help you. And even in that space with a little bit of help, it's still a lot on me. So I'm still driving this ship. I'm still steering how I want it to feel and look like, and having the long existing relationships with people that you have history with and coming back to see them. So I don't feel like I'm starting from scratch. I'm just starting again.
Right.
And it feels good. Like it feels free. And also I think for me creatively, I'm not trying to chase who I was. I've already done that. It Kills Me exists. 4 a.m. exists. Wrong Side of a Love Song. Fool for You. They already exist. They've already amounted to success. I want to be and create new art that it has its own light and own life. So, it's good. People, artists, everybody's like, get to the artists are the bag. Like you're the bag. So you have value. Once you know that, people come to you and they want to help and they want to collaborate with you.
Yeah.
But it definitely takes a team. And so I'm rebuilding my team. It's been, as I expand in the motherhood space, in different ways to use my voice, that team will continue to expand.
Yeah.
It's a lot of responsibility.
And I got 2 kids now. So it's way more responsibility. But again, it's blessed stress, as I call it.
Gotcha.
We're all stressed about something. At least be stressed about what you love doing.
There you go.
Do you ever feel guilty, have those guilty thoughts that you're not spending enough time with your children because now you're delving back into music and you have all your podcasts and everything else? That do you still feel yourself struggling in areas where you can improve or you want to improve? You know what I mean?
Definitely. I'm getting ready to go on tour. This is the first time I'm going on tour with 2 kids and since having both.
How old are they?
3 and 9. And
I got 2 of those at the house.
You really do?
9 and 3. Yep.
Wow. You like that jump? You like that space in between?
Yeah, I got 3, 6, and 9, and then a 16-year-old.
Stack it to me one more time. I really am kind of bracing myself for that.
Yeah.
What that's going to be like to be away from my children for 3 weeks. I mean, they'll probably pop out and say hi on a couple of shows, but they have school now, and that's a big part of my mental load. I run that ship, even though I'm out here, gonna go do television
Your husband
tomorrow.
Gonna be so effed up. He gonna be calling you every month. Where's the shoes at? Where's the socks at?
No, actually, he's really good, and we have help right now. We have family with us who know how we kind of run our house, so we've kind of had to enlist that help. But I think that that's one way that I kind of give myself permission, and I try to quiet the guilt down. I think guilt is a thing that naturally comes up, but you have to work actively to say, that's not really real. Like, my kids are actually taken care of. I am actually out here doing what I need to do. They're cared for, they're loved, and it's temporary. Everything is temporary. Like, my parents are immigrants. I think about my parents leaving my brother in Guyana to come and immigrate to Canada, to set the life up, to bring their children and their family up to Canada, and how devastating that must have been to be like, we don't know if it's going to work. We don't know what's going to happen, but I have to leave my child in a different country and reestablish my life, you know? So I always use that as a guiding light for me every time I think about guilt and every time I think about what's possible, because we made it. We all made it, and we're doing all right.
Yeah, and I'm 7 months postpartum, so it's like
you're in the
I'm
thick of it. It's your first.
Yes, right. And no, this is my
number
second.
two.
Oh,
This is number
okay.
two. My son is 12.
Okay.
Started over.
Right? Yeah.
Girl.
Yeah.
So, and although I do have help, you know, my fiance's mom, she moved from Kuwait to come and be the nanny and help, you know, and that is, don't play with me. Don't play with me. No, Melanie, he be
Now,
trying.
you're not gonna come for the mamas now. Now you got
Anyway,
sis.
No,
You're not gonna
because-
come for the mamas. I got you.
because she Mexican or whatever. So it's like,
I'm like, I was just
Kuwait.
concerned. Like,
I
should
know
you?
she was. She was working over there.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And,
I love that.
I was just
I
concerned.
love-
Should you say that at a time like this, Jess? She just got here. Like, what you
Shut
mean?
up,
I'm
man.
just
Go
saying.
ahead. Continue on,
Shut
Jess.
up.
Go ahead, Jess. Go.
girl. So and I still find myself feeling guilty. You know, I was breastfeeding, but out of nowhere, I just stopped producing milk, and I'm guilty because I can't give her breast milk anymore. Now she has to get on formula and everything, and it's just like and I'm touring because I'm a stand-up comedian as well, and so I'm here this weekend, and then I'm there this weekend. I have to get up early and leave her because I do radio from 6 to 10 or 6 to 11, whatever that is. So I'm still in the thick of it where I'm trying to balance that guilt, or even just rebuke the guilt, because I know I shouldn't feel that way, but I do. I cannot shake that.
But because you love your child, and when you love something so much, when you love something, think about everything that you love, even professionally. Like, you want to show up in love, right? And this is someone that you made, like you carried, you know, the sacrifice, the bond. Yeah. And like that breastfeeding thing, girl, oh my gosh, let me tell you, with my first one, I was so sad when that milk was like, bye. Girl, with my second, I was like, are we done?
Whatever.
Are we done? Because I'm not enjoying, like, it was so difficult the second time around. By 3 months, I remember my husband looked at me and he was just like, if you're unhappy, just stop. I was pumping nonstop just to be like, she gotta get. My body was like, no, we're done now. And I felt the second time around when I released myself from that. So I know everything that you're saying, and it's a journey, and no one's actually going to help you get there. It's just you. You're going to have to arrive. You're going to have to see. I think once you start to, once you start to just really, when she sees you happy, she does not know like, you being happy is actually what makes her happy. Yeah. And I think that that's the thing that we forget. Your children's happiness, and they've done studies on this, depends on the happiness of the mother more than anyone else in their life. So you being happy and fulfilled, my only advice, even though we're not really supposed to give advice, my only suggestion would be to try to find the happiness in your presence. Yeah. You know, we talk about balance like it's supposed to be 50-50. No. Some days it's 90-10. But when you're there at 9, if you're there at 90, be there with her. You know, enjoy your time. Show her, create those moments. And when you're not there, then she knows that she's loved. And then you're in your full purpose as well. But it's hard. I get it. It really is hard. And it's a real thing. Like, we talk about it on the podcast all the time. Yeah. Because it's a real thing.
And when did you meet your husband? How did y'all meet?
Ooh.
Maybe looking for one.
That's what he wanted to know. I've been married 24 years.
Absolutely.
6 kids.
Put some respect
been
on that.
31
Thank you very
years.
much.
I don't know what he's talking about. He wants to be based so bad.
Messy.
Oh, he wants to be based so
Just
bad.
messy. Y'all still messy. Oh my gosh. Charlamagne, you still doing this?
Still messy.
You still doing this?
No,
He
he's just
flirt with me
crazy.
every
He's just
day.
Like,
Like-
where you meet your husband?
No, because
I
he
need
talks
one.
about
Love. He's asking the thoughtful questions. I love this question. Thank you very much for asking. So there's a funny story is, we actually used to work in the same studio right next to each other and didn't even know for years. And one day, he used to be a songwriter. Now he's a manager and an executive. He's a partner at a media company. He's doing very well. I'm very proud of him. But at that time, he was a songwriter, and I was working on my second project. And the first time we met, this guy from my team was like, hey, these guys next door want to play you a song. And she stepped next door and go. So I walked inside. That was the first time we met, but we were both in different relationships. And then cut to like a few years later, we're both out of relationships and we're in a writing trip. We're like on a writing camp. And we ended up on an island together.
Wow. Writing camp for what artists, if you don't mind?
It was just like a creative. You just write. And then like you place the songs or whatever. And it was my first writing camp. And I didn't even know him. We took the same flight. We got off the flight and we saw each other and it was like, oh, hey, I know you. But instantly we were just like really familiar. And that's how it started. We just met on this island and I was like, this is like, I don't know, this is really weird. And I had actually gotten out of a relationship like a year and a half before. I was doing my dating thing, being outside. And I remember right before I went on that trip, I said to my friend at the time, I was like, I think I'm ready to meet someone for real. Like, I think I'm ready to like venture into a serious relationship again. And I went on that trip and we met and then we came back to New York and we kind of started dating. We dated for almost a year, like kind of figuring it out. And then we broke up.
So I thought it was going to be a good story from there.
Right.
Like,
I mean, it's a happy ending.
It's a brilliant story.
Y'all spun the block.
It's a brilliant story. No, you know what the thing is? I always say this because I always used to say, I was like, no U-turns. Like at that point in my life, I was like, I've already done you know how it's going to work out when you spin the block. If you have to turn around, it usually don't work. So what I always do, what I said is like, I just kept going and he met me where I was at.
Ooh,
so because I wasn't looking back. I was like, if you are my person, we will align. I don't have to pull back and you don't have to, like, you're going to meet me where I'm at. And I had done a lot of work at that time. So I wasn't willing to compromise the amount of self-work I had done. I knew the love that I deserved. I knew the love that I wanted. I felt like we could have it. But again, you got to say yes to overcoming some of those things.
So why'd y'all break up?
You know, at that time, I'll say this. We both gotten out of long relationships and I had done the work to figure out how to move on from that. And I don't think that he had at the time. He had never given himself permission to be single. He had never enjoyed that part. And so I think when he met me, I think it was a moment where he was kind of like, whoa, I think I just met the person I'm going to be with for the rest of my life. Like, am I ready for that?
Yeah, I need to be the man that she deserves.
For sure. And I respected him for that. And when we parted ways, it was in love. Like, that was one of the most beautiful breakups I think I'd ever had because we saw each other for who we were as individuals. And I was just like, whatever work you need to do for yourself has nothing to do with me. And I actually don't even want to be the catalyst for it. So I'm going to remove myself so that you have the space to go and do and be what you want to do and be without my influence or me planting seeds. And so I know that if you show back up, you showed up because you want to be here. You showed up because this is where you know you're supposed to be, not because I've been planting the seed of hope. Like, are you going to, hey, I'm still here? No, I started dating someone else. Like, we really started.
Oh, hell no. He called the lady immediately after that. He got the therapist on line.
Yeah.
But he did that work. He did that work. And when he showed back up, it was on. Like, I had whatever reservations that I had thought about spinning the block or getting back together with an ex, they were just gone. I was like, I'm choosing to do this with you.
So what was the moment that it was, okay, he's ready? Like, what was it? Or did you just feel? What was it?
I just knew. He came back. We didn't talk for 6 months. I'm like a no contact kind of person. Right?
So did he text you, hey, big head? What you doing, big head?
Yeah, exactly. He hit me. I told him, I said, don't call me. I said, don't call me about the weather.
Damn.
I said, don't ask me how I'm doing. I'll be fine. But I was like, when you call me, have something to say.
Grand Rising Queen.
You know? No, we ain't doing any of that. No, we ain't doing any of that. Grandest of risings, Queen. No, you know, he just hit me and he was like, you know, hey, I was just, you know, calling to see how you were doing. I was like, I told you I'm doing good, you know?
Damn.
I'm doing good.
You're a tough cookie.
Yes.
You know what you're calling for. I told you I'm doing good.
No, but I had
I
to.
respect it. You did the work.
I had to. And then finally he hit me. I was in LA and, you know, he was like, hey, will you have dinner with me? And I was like, no. And
Jesus.
yeah, no, I was really trying to, and a friend of mine was like, she was like, you love this person. Why don't you just go have dinner with them? Like, he wants to see you.
Yeah.
And so I went and we had dinner and, you know, he was like, hey, like, I was just hoping, he was living out of state at the time. He was living in Florida and I was living in California. And he was like, you know, he's like, I was wondering if, you know, you come out and like, just, you know, hang out with me. And I was like, no. I was like,
Damn,
I'm not coming out. And he's like, okay, well then I'm coming back to LA. And so then he came out to LA, and this is like my favorite part of the story, because I was like, don't do this. Like, don't do this. If you're not ready, like for real, like I'm not playing. So then after he's like, I'm coming to LA, and he's like, I will be here for 3 days. And he's like, if you will see me, he was like, this is where I'll be. And I was like, I'll let you know. And I didn't even, and then I called him 30 minutes before, and I was like, I'm pulling up in 30 minutes. He's like, I'm here. So he really posted up. And when I went there,
So he was in front of your house, just waiting.
no, this was at a hotel.
Oh,
he was at a hotel in LA. And I really was like, let me see if you're really about that action. But like, I wasn't making it difficult for him. I was just really being firm on my boundaries.
Did you get fly when you pulled up?
Oh, you know I did. you know, because if it's the last time you're gonna see somebody, you gotta leave a lasting impression. But it wasn't. It really wasn't. And you know, the things that he said, it was just the most genuine. I just knew Spirit was like, we're aligned here, and I knew that it was the right decision for me. I knew that I was, and that's, you know, even on the EP, I wrote this song called "I Choose You," because I think that choice is the greatest thing we have. And when we exercise it in empowerment, it can be so beautiful. And so for me, I was like, all right, I'm going to choose to say yes to this. You're choosing me and I'm choosing you, and we are going to do this together. We know where we've come from. We know what we've been through. With all of that said, let's choose to do this together. And so we did. And in 6 months, I was pregnant.
Oh, so this is about him.
He chose.
Say yes.
Listen, let me tell you something. That moment of us finding out I was pregnant, again, like I didn't think that wasn't the plan, but it was God's plan. And when I really happened, like as soon as we got pregnant and then we had our son, I literally was just like, oh, this is why.
Yeah.
Like of course we have a beautiful love and life and connection, and I really do feel like that is my person. But when we had our son, I literally was like, oh, this little spirit needed us to get our shit together so that he could be here.
There's so much that I'm hearing in what you said. Number one, the power of intention.
Absolutely.
Because you told your homegirl, I need to find my person. The set boundaries, find peace. The set boundaries, find peace part is very important.
Yeah.
And you know, just people doing the work, and what's for you won't escape you.
It's there for you time and time again. You just have to trust the process.
Yeah.
You really do. You have to be willing to journey and pay attention and learn and allow yourself to be a student of life. Like truly, like in all the work that I feel like I've done on myself, I'm still learning. I'm still being tested. These kids come along and test you. They show you parts of yourself that you didn't even know, you know, that you still needed to work on. In marriage, even at this time, right now, we're both in the busiest seasons of our lives together. And that's a challenge, you know? So how do we navigate that? We're not the same people we were. We have more responsibilities, more stress. So, you know, it's an evolution always. But the intention, the power of intention is everything. You cannot do anything without intention. Yeah.
But,
go ahead.
I was going to say the setting boundaries part, though. Just the fact that you were firm in your nose. I want you to expound on that. Why is that important?
You know, I think for a lot of my life, I was a people pleaser. And I think for a lot of my life, I felt like I had to be nice and I had to get along and I had to go with the flow and not rock the boat. And I really realized that you get more by people knowing that you know who you are and that you can't be swayed on that. And I think that no is, we hear it, a complete sentence, you know, and you don't have to be rude about anything. Like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
You know what? Not at this moment. I appreciate that, but no, thank you. I'll pass. Like, there's so many ways, you know, that doesn't align with me right now. There's so many ways we can say no that still empower us. And if you don't want to feel offensive, but the setting boundaries is everything. Because again, I think because of the boundaries that I've set for myself in my life, I can now freely say yes and feel like I'm doing it from wisdom, from experience, from divine protection. I feel like the universe responds when you operate at a high frequency. And so I know that I've done the work. You cannot get to that free space of saying yes by just being like, I'm going to just say yes to everybody. That's people-pleasing tendencies.
Yeah.
The say yes from a place of empowerment comes from setting those boundaries. So they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Why only 6 songs? All this time?
It's not enough.
I'm just saying.
It's not a full album. It's an EP.
But why just 6 songs?
Because that's what I got.
Got you.
Because that's what I wanted to
Show you all
do.
the things
It
she's
seems
doing.
like it's the timeline of your love, like of how you and your husband.
Yes,
you know?
it really is. And you know, the thing is that there's been so much time between these projects, and I understand that, but you know, 6 songs is still 6 songs.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been no songs. There's someone, it really could have.
Or it could have been 12 songs, but people only really love 6.
Basura.
So just give them the 6.
Yeah, people don't really love it.
Basura.
They don't like it, you know? They don't like
Yeah.
it. It's not for everybody. And I think that that's the thing. With this project, it's been so long. I wanted to give people something that allows them to, I think, connect with the foundation, I think, of who I am. Like Mona Lisa Smile on the project is very much a true Melanie Fiona fan record. Like, they will love that. But then, you know, you got Say Yes, which is a completely live song. You know, the version on the project, there's a version on the project that's 7 minutes long. You know,
Oh, wow.
it's fully artful. It's transcendent. It's ethereal. It's Andre Harris, Chris Dave, Thundercat, Charlie Burrell, and Sir. Like, we crafted this. It's art, you know? So these songs are really special to me. La Russell is on the project, a feature.
Ooh.
You know, I got James Fauntleroy on this project. We did a song. So these songs to me are just, it's the right offering for right now. And I think that people will enjoy it and they'll want to run it back and listen to it over and over again. Because like you said, you give some people 12 songs, people's attention spans are
These days,
TikTok long.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's been a while. I want to reintroduce and reestablish myself. And so I felt like an EP was the best way. And, you know, we can move on and make many albums and many songs and many projects. So I'm just not limiting myself. this is what we got, 6 songs.
What was the inspiration of Mona Lisa Smile? Was it the movie or was it the actual smile?
No, so Mona Lisa Smile came from a place of honestly being a Black woman in this world. Mona Lisa Smile, you know, when we think about the Mona Lisa, nobody ever knows if she's smiling, if she's sad. Like, we don't know. It's very nondescript. Like,
Because she don't really have
It's
lips.
based on how you
Yeah.
focus
She
your
don't have a
gaze.
lot of-
right, exactly.
But
right.
her lips not really that full. So,
Right.
you know.
Well, she's white.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we have Black Mona Lisa now. You know, and she's smiling today. But no, the thing is that Mona Lisa Smile, if you listen to it, it's this like beautiful song that sounds really pretty. It's got this vintage sound. But what I'm talking about is the stress of being in life and love with somebody and just being like, I'm not going anywhere. And I'm going to put my best Mona Lisa Smile on, because if I let one tear fall, I might fall apart. But as a Black woman in this world, as a woman in this world, I have to show up with my head held high, and nobody will know what's going on inside. And that's really what Mona Lisa Smile is. Like, even in that side, it's just like when you're in a relationship with somebody, it's just like, ooh, I'm gonna just hold it together right now. You know, so I really love Mona Lisa Smile for that reason, because I think it really is the untold story of what so many women carry in their relationships and in their roles in their lives. Yeah.
Another thing that you talked about, you know, this conversation that I would love to just expound on, is because somebody was up here, I forgot who it was, and they were just saying how work-life balance does not exist. Like, there's no such thing. It's a lie that we tell ourselves. You're going to give your energy to your family, and that's going to be that. You're going to give your energy to your work, and that's going to be that. Like you said earlier, it's not going to be 50-50. It might be 90-10.
Yeah.
Could you just expound on that a little bit?
Yeah, you know, they say something that I've heard many people say is you can have it all, you just can't have it all at the same time. And so, you know, I think for the well-being of ourselves, we have to give ourselves grace to be able to just be like, I want to show up 100% in everything, but all you got to do is show up 100% in where you're at in that moment. If that's cooking dinner, that's what I'm doing today. I'm cooking dinner. I'm doing that. Multitasking is this thing that they've told us, you know, like it's not actually real. We're not supposed to be able to multitask. Like, the only thing we really can do is like talk and look at the same time, walk maybe and talk. You know, in order to be present and really great at something, you really do have to give it your full attention. Parenting, marriage, all of these things. So you can only do that in certain times of your day. You know, I don't know how many hours Beyonce has, because they said, you know, she's got more than 24 hours because she be getting it done. But, you know, in my 24-hour day, I just do the best I can in the moment. You know, right now, I'm not checking on my kids.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm here. So you just have to give yourself the grace to just say, like I said, sometimes it's 90, sometimes it's 10. Just do the best every day, 100%. And if you're 100%, see, we don't know.
She do have little lips, but she is smiling once I zoomed all the way in, Melanie.
It does, about how you focus your gaze.
I had no
That's why people
idea.
stare at that picture forever.
Right. And I had no idea that she was really smiling. So
What is she
something
looking
every
at?
day.
What is she? Is she stoic? Is she happy? Is she sad? We don't know. What do her eyes say?
Her eyes say that she is sad.
We don't even know if that's a woman.
We
for
don't.
real.
Then that's the thing. There's so much conversation about the Mona Lisa. Yeah.
What?
See, we
No,
just
you
gotta,
don't know
we
these
gotta go
conversations.
past
No, there
things.
are think pieces about it. There are like people who are just like, we don't know. Yeah.
Her name's Mona,
I mean,
not Malcolm. She's
definitely not Malcolm.
a sad woman.
Can we get into a joint off the EP? What you want to hear?
Ooh.
Say yes.
Say yes?
You can't pick
You
her.
gotta decide
damn,
What
my
is
fault,
your
my
favorite?
fault, my fault.
What you would? Because you got some upbeat stuff on there too. What
I do have
you
some
wanna hear?
upbeat. Oh my gosh. This is tricky.
It's 6 songs. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
First of all, why? Yo,
You want to do the up-tempo one?
Let's do the up-tempo one. Run it.
Okay.
What are we gonna do?
what's
we're
the
gonna,
name of it?
We're gonna do
the name.
We're
of
gonna do "Make Me Feel" featuring La Russell.
All
right, make
Yeah,
me
summer
my guy,
bop.
La Russell.
Summer bop.
Okay.
Salute to my guy, La Russell. Love
Salute.
La Russell.
The
Well,
life.
let's get into it right now, and we appreciate you for joining us.
Thank you.
Don't be a
Yes.
13-year stranger.
Never. I won't be.
You know.
Don't.
I won't be. I really won't be. New York always has a special place in my heart. So I'm just
Yeah.
happy to be back here. Thank y'all.
And I gotta turn into your podcast, girl. I'm
yes,
dealing with some
and
mommy stuff.
Let's
so.
have you on it.
Yeah.
Next time
Oh,
you're
yeah.
in LA, please come through.
Okay.
We can talk about all the things.
Thank you,
And it is a
girl.
safe space. Absolutely.
Appreciate you.
All right. It's the Breakfast Club. It's Melanie, Fiona, y'all.
Thank you.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.